It's 94 WYSP, the rock you grew up with. Randy Kotz in here with Andy Bloom, who is an operations manager here at CBS Philadelphia. I had a Howard story I was going to tell you. It was back when he first got on, and it was perceived that I was not necessarily anti-Howard, but I'm disc jockey. Wanted to play more music in the mornings, and they called, and I understand we weren't supposed to use some audio because it hasn't really been cleared by the Howard Stern people, his people. So, they gave me a call, and the audio was much funnier, but Howard was really kind of nice to me. Robin, on the other hand, that Robin...
she can tear your heart out. That's for sure. On the air.
I'm married to a Robin, you know. As you know.
I do know that.
You were at the wedding.
I do know that.
Anyway, Howard Stern. Howard Stern left in 2006. Now, describe the timeline. After that, the course of events, if you will.
Well, first of all, I should be clear that in 2006, I was working for a congressman in Washington, D.C., and had taken a 4-year sabbatical from radio, so I wasn't here in radio, period. But I also want to make clear that none of the people who are currently in management for CBS or at WYSP were involved in any of these decisions. None of the current people who are in management were involved or were here. So this is not an indictment of any of the people here. But at the point that Howard left, the radio station then went into a year or so of being free FM. And so at the point that they lost the greatest talk personality in the history of radio, they made the decision to stop playing music and decide to be a talk station. It's something that I can't explain, and frankly, nobody here can really explain because nobody was here.
Was there a chimp at the helm?
I don't know who, why, how they came to that conclusion, but it wasn't a very good decision. It lasted for about a year,
for sure.
And then the decision to move back to a rock format was made. And there was a morning personality who was here who also made some unfortunate mistakes, and so there was another restart that started in 2008.
Another setback.
Another setback.
Okay.
And so in 2008, I came back as operations manager. F. Sotolano, bright young kid, became the program director of the radio station. Jim Loftus was made the general manager. Mark Rayfield, the market manager. New management group for CBS all the way through. And we took 3 years to give YSP another shot. And I want to tell you, I've worked with a lot of radio staffs since I started programming in 1983, and I have never seen a staff work as hard as the people here: Spike, Jennifer, Gordon. I want to make sure that I don't forget anybody. In November 2008, we brought Danny Bonaducci in to do mornings. I've never seen anybody work as hard as those people, particularly Danny. The promotions team, I've just never seen a group of people more dedicated. The sales team, led by Subi Ross, did everything possible to take a radio station that had made a tragic set of mistakes over a number of years and resurrect it. And over the next 3 consecutive years, WYSP showed consistent but modest increases. In fact, over the past year, Danny has become a serious force in Philadelphia morning radio. And while nobody at WYSP has any reason to hang their heads because everyone worked hard and did a terrific job, in the end, it just wasn't enough to keep going. I've been asked the question, and I've taken a few phone calls, so I'm going to go ahead and try to give an explanation. And what I realize is, for the hardcore WYSP fans, for those who have been with us for 40 years, through thick and thin, through the good times and stuck with us through the bad times, I do understand that no explanation is going to be good enough. And I also will say that I came here as a 23-year-old kid. This was my first shot at programming. There is no radio station in America that means more to me than WYSP. But I'm going to try to give the explanation because it's what people have been asking. With a relatively weak signal on AM, WIP has been able to beat WMMR frequently over the last several years in its target demographic of men 25 to 54 years old. WIP is the only station that's been able to beat WMMR in both stations' target demographics, that's men 25-54, consistently over the past 3 years. Over 2/3 of the people in Philadelphia don't listen to the AM band. While it's become increasingly clear, even with the slow, consistent growth, it's become clear that with this format, the 94.1 dial position is not likely to, to beat WMMR in the near future. We think that WIP, which has beat it on a regular basis over the past couple of years.
Was that Les Moonves, by the way?
I don't know who that was.
We've changed our mind. We're going to keep rocking. I'm sorry.
I don't know who it was, but we think that with the addition of the FM signal, WIP has the more likely shot. That is not going to be an answer that will be satisfactory to hardcore people. It is the most honest answer that this 50-year-old programmer who came here when he was 23 years old can possibly give an audience that wants answers. With that, before I choke up, I would like to say some thank yous to a lot of people who had a lot to do with my being here and with my success. I want to thank the general manager who hired me when I was 23 years old in programming in Milwaukee, Ken Stevens, who believed in a 23-year-old kid. I'd like to thank the former CEO of Infinity, Mel Karmazin, who didn't send me back to mom's basement after I hired Scruff, Animal, and Keller.
Almost,
but not quite. I'd like to thank Fred Jacobs for seeing something in me. I'd like to thank the current regime at CBS, including Dan Mason, Chris Olivero, Anton. I'd like to thank Greg Strassel also. I'd like to thank the management at CBS Philadelphia, Jim Loftus and Mark Rayfield, who have continued to be supportive. Jeff Sotolano, who I know has poured his heart out into this radio station. I'd even like to thank Tim Sabian, who kept this station healthy from the time I left in 1991 to 2006 when he left. And I'd be remiss if I did not thank Howard Stern for yes, making WYSP great, and also yes, Howard, for making my career successful. I'd like to thank all of the staffs at WYSP, from the staffs in 1986, from the time we went classic rock all day, through the staffs now that have worked so hard to keep WYSP alive. And I want to make sure that I don't forget to thank the people behind the scenes, people like Maureen Boyle and Sue Zulker, who work tirelessly behind the scenes. People have no idea how hard they work. To the promotions people like Chris Johnson, Sarah Mackey, to the old days like Scott Siegelbaum and Ed Green, who make sure that the station has always been visible. Randy, I want to thank you for inviting me here, and I want to thank all of the listeners who have given 40 years of devotion to this radio station. Your voices are heard, and we have appreciated you for 40 years. With that, I will say thank you and have a good day.
I'm welling up now. Thank you very much, Andy Bloom. Again, the operations manager of the CBS cluster, if you will.
Not the cluster, just three of them.
Just three of them. That's a cluster to me.
Well, Steve Butler and Ann Gress would disagree with that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, how's Ann doing?
She's doing great.
No, good. Any jobs over there? Oh, okay. All right. 94 WYSP Philadelphia, the rock you grew up with. We got some real old timers coming in just a little bit. Bill Fantini, Jerry Abair, and Sean McKay. From an era way, way, way gone. My thanks again, once again, to Andy Bloom, and thank you for having me at various times throughout the years.
Thanks for being had.
I can relate to that. Pearl Jam, still kind of a black day for me in YSP history, and it is YSP.